All right, guys, it looks like we are back on, and let us know if you can hear us. Let us know if you're out there on Facebook and you hear us and can experience what we're the conversation we're having tonight. We had technical problems earlier, so we stopped the initial broadcast and we came back on. And so, again, you set the agenda. If there's a topic you'd like us to tackle tonight to have a conversation, we will do that. We have paid honor to this country that was so greatly impacted by 9/11 19 years ago. Particular honor to those who lost loved ones, who themselves were injured, who had other kind of losses, psychological losses, cognitive losses, and emotional losses, job losses, industry, all kinds of losses occurred 19 years ago on this day. And I remember exactly where I was when we began to hear about planes running into the Twin Towers and planes running into the Pentagon. I remember exactly where I was, what I was feeling, what I was experiencing, and it was such a surreal experience. And at that point, I was a seminary student. I was away on Ashland's campus, and I had went to emergency because um, I had a kidney infection, a bladder infection, and so I went to emergency. And when we walked into the urgent care facility, everybody's heads were up, looking at the television. And so we walked in and we were, like no one was waiting on us or paying any attention to us. And so, of course, then we looked where everyone else was looking at, and it looked like unbelievable. And so, just shock and dismay and disbelief. And it's interesting. Out of difficulties, often comes amazing life giving experiences.
Absolutely.
Right. And one of those experiences that day is that um we um we were dismissed from class. And during those times, Joy, and as you know, the way Ashland is, you go down for an extended period of time.
Mm-hmm.
And so that ended hours early, I think for about 2 days. They were going to send us home. We were dismissed from class, but before we dismissed, we decided to go out in the gazebo area, and it was and pray. And when I opened my eyes to look around the circle, it was people from all different kind of walks of life together
Mm.
praying. For me, that was so life giving. That was so life giving that at a time when this kind of tragedy has occurred, you got men and women and different faith traditions and different nationalities, all different age. So we cross all of those isms
Right.
together in prayer. Yeah. Where were you? Where were you when 9/11?
So crazy thing, 19 years ago, I think I was in 11th grade.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know exactly what was I remember them turning on the TVs
Mm-hmm.
in one of the rooms.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember going from because I went from one school to another. I was in like this magnet program.
Yeah.
And so I went to the other. I remember like not doing much at the first school and then going to the other school, and then the second plane hit or something. And it
Mm-hmm.
was at that time, and I didn't. I don't know that we knew the magnitude of what was
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah.
As kids. I mean, I was a kid, and so
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that I knew the magnitude of what that meant, and
Mm-hmm.
that kind of societal adjustment.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what the adjustment that came behind that, because after that, like I mean, so many things happened with
Yeah.
that. So, um, yeah, that's where I was, and so I just remember, I didn't feel scared. I felt a bit confused because
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't know what it meant. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I didn't know exactly what it meant. Now I knew that it meant something because I knew by the reaction of the adults that it meant something, but I
Mhm.
didn't know what that meant for me. if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. It was a Letitia said she will never forget that day 19 years ago. Where were you, Letitia? Valisa, thank you for letting us know you can hear us. Where were you 19 years ago when you heard about 9/11, when you heard what was happening? You know, what I think about often is how children's lives changed after that. Do you see? Because children, for the first time, saw adults afraid, adults who they
Mhm.
perhaps had never seen afraid before. And 9/11 was brought into our living rooms, and it played over and over and over and over again. So when you look at the literature from that time and you look at the research, certainly children talked about how just their day-to-day play was different, because for many children that played in the back of their mind,
Mm-hmm.
that someone can come to their country and do these things to adults. So what does
Mm-hmm.
that mean for them? You know?
Mm-hmm.
So when we talk about trauma, we don't want to forget children. Right?
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to forget that children often overhear, and this is the thing, sometimes we don't know what children know.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We don't know what they've listened to, and we definitely don't know how they internalize it, what meaning they make of it, unless we have the conversation. So it's important, as we're talking about getting help, that we watch our children during these times as well.
Absolutely. Because again, oftentimes, again, the changes are subtle. If
Mhm.
you weren't, maybe a worker at the airport, like you
Yeah,
may not have known. I mean, and they weren't. It was a big change. You knew it the next time you traveled or whatever, but it
yeah,
didn't affect you unless you were traveling, right?
yeah.
I mean, and then there were some other things, right, that went into this big change that happened. Racism against,
Yeah.
the people of,
Mhm.
Muslim descent, or
Mhm.
of Muslim descent,
Mhm.
as
Mhm.
far as, or Middle Eastern descent, I think,
Mhm.
I would
Mhm.
call it, but
Mhm.
we didn't know how this was going to affect people. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? And so like you said, the children were affected because they were a part of it. And
Yeah.
it's very similar in a way to how things are happening even right now today, right?
Mhm.
Like the children don't recognize how this is going to affect them until it
Mhm.
affects them,
Yeah.
right? Because now, yeah, we got out of school 2 months early and it was real cool then, but then now we're not going back to school. Like, so now we're going to school online. We have to figure out how to do that. And I saw this, I don't know if it was a post or a meme that I saw, and it was mind blowing. And it said something, it was a 5-year-old's first day of school. And the meme said, it's a tough world when, maybe they were 4 or 5, preschool, kindergarten, something like that. And they said it's a tough world when you're 5 years old and they expect you to know how to read, navigate a computer, and manage your time and sit still.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just looked at that and I was like, oh my goodness. Like, cause
Yeah.
to think about, like, kids can't read. Like, so what do you expect them to be able to navigate
Yeah.
the internet, to
Yeah.
navigate Zoom, and they can't read? Like,
Yeah.
what do we do? Like,
Yeah.
but what are the other options? You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
but these are, again, our adjustments that our kids are having to make. I talked to a little girl Wednesday, and I said, how was school? And she said it was good. I got my own computer at my mama house, or something to that effect, and that was cool for her, like,
Yeah.
literally. And
Yeah.
so it is that kind of thing. Like, yes, you're right, like children are impacted, and we have to be aware of the impact that it has on children. We have to be aware of the
Yeah.
impact that it has on adults, and we have to be aware that some of these things, again, they are small, and they feel subtle because now everybody's doing it, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's doing it. So wearing masks now is normal after a couple of months. But this
Not,
wasn't normal.
not,
Like, this
not,
wasn't
not,
normal.
not.
This wasn't normal.
Yeah.
Yes, we need to do
Yeah.
it. Yes, we should do it.
Yeah.
All of that. But this isn't normal. This doesn't
Yeah.
feel normal. And our
Yeah.
bodies is registering that. Our bodies register every time you put a mask on, your body registers that, like, this is different.
Yeah.
And I believe our bodies register how we breathe. We go to the personal trainer and she was like, you're exercising in this mask and you're breathing back in the carbon dioxide.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, why can't you run as long? Because you're breathing in carbon. Our bodies are not
Yeah.
made to breathe in carbon dioxide. So for people who have to work 8 hours a day, breathing back in their carbon dioxide for 8 hours a day, like
Yeah.
this is affecting our bodies, and we have to be aware of that.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thank you. It is, beloved. It is. And so I'm going to come back to Letitia's comment. We got a couple of comments, but what I want to do is this. It is affecting us, so we have to be proactive, right?
Mm-hmm.
COVID-19 is here. There's nothing we can do about it.
Absolutely.
The racial unrest, right, is here, and we're trying to do something about it, right? And we have sects of folk trying to do something about COVID, but there's a certain portion of that that's going to be here, and we can't control it. We can't, and just talking about control. Control is an illusion. For anybody who thinks they have control, it's an illusion. Just let it go. Let it go. Let control go, because it's an illusion. Just become adaptable and flexible, and be able to look at options and other possibilities, because that's the way that we can live well, period. But certainly in times of like this, when there's chaos and unprecedented realities that are occurring. So that's the one piece. But so when it's so imperative, beloved, then that we position ourselves to be resilient. And how can we increase resilience, right? And some of those things is just self-awareness. Know yourself. Know what it is that you need. Know what it is that you enjoy. Know how to get support. Know when you're having challenges and what you need to do. Know what your triggers are, right? Beloved, have some fun. Tomorrow's Saturday. If at all possible, put everything else to the side and go outside, go inside, go somewhere and have some fun. Watch a movie, eat some popcorn, whatever it is that would be healthy for you, beneficial for you. But what I'm saying is, during this time, we have got to self-care, right? We have got to care for ourselves, our minds, our relationships, our feelings, our bodies. We've got to care for ourselves. And so those things we can't control, but we can control what we look at, what we listen to. We can control what we put in our mouths. We can control some other things. So those things we want to make sure. We'll come back and talk about that in a little bit. But I want to go to Letitia. Letitia says that she was working for Spalding for Children. The lights in the building went out for whatever the reason. I remember thinking about how this would change our country forever. And the truth is, this trauma has never left us. Absolutely. It has changed our country. It changed the way we did things. And one of the things that it changed is, I remember we had a family that had moved here from Trinidad, and they were working to get their visas. And up until that time, it was smooth sailing. The mom, the dad, it was smooth sailing. After that time, I don't know if they ever got them, just to tell you the truth. And so so people who were here, who had gone through the normal path, who had followed, what had been acceptable, all of a sudden, all the rules changed. And people who were no threat to anyone, who actually was a benefit to the country, they got caught. And so, Joy, you likened it into to now, same thing happening now, for different reasons.
For different reasons, but when you look at how the country has been affected by the things that it's been affected by, whether it is people in positions of power, whether it is COVID-19 or whatever, I mean, we're still looking at the same thing, where we have immigrants who are being detained without legal representation, and children who are being asked about lawyers and don't know what the word lawyer means to determine whether or not they can stay in the country. Children in cages. Like, people don't belong in cages, and then we deport them back to whatever place or whatever that is. And so that thing is real, and it's happening now. Like, it's happening throughout.
And actually, it's worse, because we didn't do the children like that after 9/11. What's happening right now is worse as it relates to the individuals. Yeah. So, Devera, 19 years ago, my son my second born son, Maurice, was attending Jackson State University, and he called me and said, "Mama, I thought I was watching a movie." He could not believe what he was seeing on television. I remember wanting to go get him and bring him home. Yes, Devera, 19 years ago, I was away on Ashland's campus. It was horrible. It was horrible because my baby was home. My baby was home, and his dad was out somewhere. And I remember just feeling frantic, talking to my husband, like, get home, because I couldn't even imagine, my baby home alone while this is happening. And so, yeah, I know the feeling. I know the feeling. And when there are babies, it doesn't matter they 19 or 39 or 59, they still are babies. Ryan says, greater evening, Dr. Catherine and Joy. Hey, Ryan. Hey, brother. Thank you for tuning in. So good to hear from you. Brian said, I'm planning on going to Top Golf with my cousins tomorrow. Yes. Yay, Brian. I celebrate you for planning on having some fun. Hit some balls, ride some carts, or whatever it is that you guys are going to do. Just make sure that you laugh. Have a good time tomorrow. All right. So let's see what Letitia says. Racial unrest, COVID-19, parents forced into homeschooling, teachers having to adapt to teaching in childless classrooms, a president who incites violence, speaks carelessly about race and women, undermining what the office is office it often feels like too much.
And Letitia, let me say this. It is too much. Like it simply is too much. And when I say that, I mean, yes, we have to learn how to adapt to it, but we have to recognize initially that this is too much. There is a lot going on right now. And there are a lot of things that are going on that are different than how they were before. Like you said, the teachers and children, teachers teaching in childless classrooms. We have school districts who are trying to decide whether or not they need to go back to school. We have you can see the inequalities and the inequities so much right now when you just look at the school districts and what they're providing for education. Whereas a couple of days ago, I saw a couple of children who go to a school district that is probably not considered an inner city school district. Both children in the home have brand new iPads, and I think that is amazing. And then I hear DPS is trying to figure out, whether or not the children are going to school, like physically going to school, because they can't provide the technology that is needed to the students. And it's like, you can see these inequalities and these inequities, and it's a lot. You have a disease that is ripping through families and churches, and you have a disease that is literally no respect of person, not, you know what I mean? Like, and it's out here alive and doing it, whatever it is doing. Racial unrest, like, and the racial things, it's not anything new. It's not new, but it is amplified because there is so much happening. It is so much happening, and we have to do well to take care of ourselves during this time. We have to do well to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. It is a lot. And so I am purposely not saying but, because I am not minimizing, I'm not negating any of those things. It is a lot. And we are humans, and we're brilliant, and we have capacity, and we have the ability to choose. We have options, and we are not alone. And if we look at history, right? History, there have been perfect storms in histories, and humans rise. Because we're first of all, from the way that we live our lives, we're created in the image of God. So we don't have to do it alone. That's first and foremost. So I need you to hear me loudly. It is a lot. and it's multiplied and it's a trifecta and it's a perfect storm and it's all those kinds of things. And God and your brothers and sisters, and within you is an answer. Within you is the capacity to show up. Within you is the capacity to effectively deal with everything that you've got to deal with. And so let me just say, it starts with self-awareness. It starts with knowing when you need to tap out and say, okay, I done had enough for today. Today, I done had enough. I'm going to go lay down somewhere. I'm going to go hit some rounds of golf. I'm going to go veg out on a series of something. I'm going to, whatever it is that'll take the edge off, right? That'll take the edge off for you and will allow you at some point to get back in the game. This is the thing that we don't have the luxury of doing. We don't have the luxury of giving up, period. We don't have that luxury. We don't have the luxury because we're needed. We are gifts to God's universe, and we're needed to show up. So, beloved, I need you to hear me. I need you to hear me when the going gets tough, right? What the scripture says, and the something suffered violence, and the violent taketh by force. What
the kingdom suffered violence,
and the violent taketh by force. All right, kingdom, I need you to rise. Okay. I need you to stand up and I need you to rise. And I need you to know that you have within you the capacity to do everything that you need to do. And this is the thing. Don't try to do it alone. This is not the time to be alone.
This is not that time.
This is not the time to be on an island somewhere by yourself. This is not the time to, let ego get in the way and say, I got it, I can do it. No, this is not that time. This is the time to pick up the phone and say, okay, I got 2, who got 3 and 4, or whatever it is. Or I'm going out to the park and I just need to see a familiar face. Now we might not can't touch, we may not can't hug, but can you just sit on the bench aside from me so I can see somebody that I know? Do you see? This is the time to know what your needs are, to speak your needs, and to be able to pull on your community and be the same thing for somebody else. So what we're not doing is we're not negating. So Letitia, I love the way that you did it. I love the way that you listed, that you highlighted everything that happened. And what I want us to do is I want us to look at it and say racial unrest. And then I want us to speak to it, right? Speak to it and speak to it in a way and say, yes, and God and my brilliance and sisters and brothers will rise, and we come against, the enemy who comes to steal, kill, and destroy. And we speak life and wholeness and healing and health. And we call the blood of Jesus. And we call, do you see? And so for each one of those, COVID-19, I speak healing. Healing is the children's bread. He was bruised for our iniquities and wounded for our transgressions, and the chastisement of his peace is upon us, or however, I always mix it up. But by his stripes, we are healed. For if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I'll hear from heaven and heal their land. Do you see? And so this is what we must do. This is what we must do, because I'm reminded of Viktor Frankl, who was in a concentration camp, who did not give up, who said that they can take a lot of things from me, but what they can't take is my attitude. And I've got the attitude of still I rise, right? I've got the attitude of Harriet Tubman, who's going to say, no, ain't nobody staying on this side. Nobody. We all crossing over together. And so I don't always have this attitude. There's sometimes when I need to go take some NyQuil and go to sleep because it feels like it's too much. Beloved, it feels like it's too much. Hear me. It feels like it's too much. We are not imprisoned to our feelings. We are not imprisoned to our feelings. So when it feels like it's too much, when you know that you've got it to the top, that you're there, then go on and tap out for a minute. Veg out on whatever. Do what you need to, as long as it's healthy, right? Right? I mean, it's healthy. And I don't, when I say that, I'm not saying, so if you need to go and eat a whole big bag of Cheetos, that's fine. What I'm saying is don't do something that's going to kill yourself. right? If you know that you already had too much salt in your diet for a month, don't go get some more salt. You see what I'm saying? I'm just saying, do something that's going to lift you up, that's going to allow you to tap out. So I'm going to go and tap joy. Like if we, I've been running around, doing my part. And then I start hearing the message over and over again. It's just too much. It's okay. So, and we all have different messages. And so when I start hearing that message, I'm like, okay, let me go tap joy, because I need to go sit on the sidelines and get my lemonade up, put my feet up, and watch Joy do her part. Do you see? And then Joy can go tap Letitia, and Letitia can tap San, and San can tap Ryan, and Ryan can tap Devera. Do you see? Beloved, we are not in this thing by ourselves. So yes, it is a lot.
Yes.
It is a lot. I'm going to say this one thing, Joy, and then tap you. And this other thing, beloved, our words have power. Our internal words have power, and our external words have power. Both of them, in or out, they grow seeds. So
absolutely,
this is the time where we got to speak life to ourselves, speak life to people that's nutting up, because whatever you do to them is coming back to you. So even if they deserve it, you better not do it. Don't give it to them, because we reap what we sow. Even if they deserve it, we gonna get it. I don't want nonsense back, so I don't put nonsense out there. So it's a lot, but we've got the capacity to meet it. We can meet the challenge. We have what we need to meet the challenge. All right, Joy.
And one of those things that we can do to meet the challenge is practice this idea of gratitude. And it was actually where I was going with next. But what good things came out of this? What good things came through this period? What good things came out of the things that we're talking about, right? Like we can always, it is very easy to pull out these things that are not normal, these things that are not bad, but there are some things that happened during this time that have been amazing. For some folks. There are some relationships that have been restored. There are some homes that have been restored, that have been brought back to life. There are some children who met their parents for the first time symbolically. Do you know what I'm saying? So there are definitely some things that have happened, right? That have been life-giving. Have been life-giving. I believe that there are more people that have been able to engage in Jesus during this time, because everybody's church is online. Like I mean, you go to church 3-4 times on a Sunday, you know what I'm saying? Depending on whatever it is you want to do. There's so much more, because it has had to be. And there are so many things that we can do. And so practicing being grateful, what things can we be grateful for? I mean, can we be grateful for the time that we get to spend with those that are closest to us? Can we be grateful for the weight that we've lost and or gained, depending on what needed to happen in our lives during this time? Can we be grateful that our bodies work the way that they're supposed to be working? Can we be grateful for what God has done for us? Can we be grateful that during this time we spent less money because we didn't go very many places? What things can we be grateful for? What things can we be grateful for? I know for me, like, I mean, I know I've spent probably way less money in gas. You know what I'm saying? Like my gas budget is about zero at this point, because there's nowhere for me to have to go, which means that I've had to pause. Whether and knowing my personality, that wouldn't have happened if I didn't have to, if I had not had to. And so in some way, and there are so many things to be grateful for. And so put in the chat, like, what are some things that have happened that were good for you during this time? And let us know, like, what things are you grateful for during this this time of kind of pulling back, or whatever the case is. Because like we said, it's a lot, but there are so many things to be grateful for, because some of us had houses to go to, apartments to go to, homes to go to, and if it wasn't our own, we had a place to stay. Food, food on the table, clothes on our back, whatever that is, activity of our limbs. What is that thing? What is that thing? What is that thing?
Absolutely.
And so It is important. It is so important for us to look at those things and be able to pull them out, because here's one thing that I've heard it said, that you cannot be grateful and experience anxiety at the
Yeah.
same time.
Right.
You cannot be grateful. You cannot be practicing gratefulness and experience
Mhm.
anxiety at the same time.
Mhm.
So in
Mhm.
those anxious moments, here's
Mhm.
a tip. You know what I'm saying? Here's a tip. Here,
Mhm.
practice something to be grateful for. Letitia put in the comments, she said one of the things that she's been grateful for during this time is having to buy gas only once. Having to buy gas only once a month.
Mhm.
Like if you're practicing gratefulness in that moment, like you can't experience the anxiety of not being able to go anywhere if you're
Mhm.
practicing gratefulness for not being able to buy gas
Mhm.
for only being
Mhm.
able to having to buy gas once a month.
Mhm.
She said that still being able to work, but work from home, serving the developmentally and mentally impaired persons.
Mhm.
Like how many people that did their job turn into their dream job because
Yeah.
they were able to do that from home?
Yeah.
How many people was provisions made for them because they were able to work from home, and maybe they didn't have to get childcare during
Yeah.
that time, and was able to work it out? Because I do
Yeah.
know that may have been difficult for some, however, but was able to work it out.
Mhm.
Yeah, there are so many things that we do have to be grateful for during this time. So yes,
Mhm.
absolutely,
Mhm.
I agree with you 100% there, Dr. James. Like, what things can we speak into the atmosphere? And then now is the time to pivot and adjust, because when we come out of this, because there will be a version of coming out of this, and when we
Yeah.
come out of this, like, how will we be positioned? What
Yeah.
things are we doing to position ourselves for the next? This is that space within us where we can be positioned to move forward.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there
Yeah.
there are some things that we can do right now, so that when it's time to do something different,
Mhm.
we're ready. And I don't know what those things are for you. For you, it may be a LLC. For you, it may be studying to take that test, or taking that test, so that
Mhm.
when this is over and you're fully licensed, or whatever the case is. Like, there are some things to do to position ourselves for the next, because I guarantee, what I can guarantee, if we live long enough, there'll be a next.
Yeah.
If you live
Yeah.
long enough,
Yeah.
there will be a next.
Yeah.
Because whatever it is, good, bad, or indifferent, it is only temporary.
Yeah. Yeah. Now is the time, as you're talking to, or alluding towards. Now is the time to build the muscles, right? Now is the time. Whatever that muscle is, this is the optimal time to build the muscle. Lots have happened, along with everything that Letitia said. Also, many lives were lost. For those of us who live in Detroit, Detroit did a what is it called, like a memorial and honor on Belial, where there were these giant pictures, look like they might have been 32 by something, of the individuals who lost their lives. And beloved, if you drove that, it was surreal to see all of those faces of individuals who were here before March, at the beginning of March, and then weren't. And so, on top of everything Letitia said, you also have that component. And with that, you have what both Joy and I have said. Joy is saying, hey, now is the time to position yourself for when this thing is no longer forefront in our mind, that we have those opportunities to do that now. And my primary message is, hey, everything that we need to come out is already in us. Everything that we need. We don't need to manufacture anything else, but this is the thing that we can do. We can take this opportunity to build muscles. So if you need to build your emotional muscles, beloved, do the work you need to do there. If you need to build your thinking muscles, do the work. If you need to build relational muscles, do the work. If you need to build business muscles, do the work. Whatever the rest muscles, that you learn how to rest, not be so anxious. Do the work. Do the work now, so that we are best positioned for when we come out of this. There are a couple of things. I wanted to go back to the Vera. She said, by the way, I saw a scooter. So she's going into the have fun, relaxation kind of thing. By the way, I saw a scooter today, and in the next moment, I got on and rolled. Devera, go Devera, go Devera for hours. I was so surprised at how well I controlled it. My hair was flowing in the wind. Then I woke up.
I'm
You
looking
got
like,
me, Devera. You got me. You got me. You got me. Devera, let me tell you something funny. So we were at my aunt's before coming before doing the live, and so they were talking about me. Both her and Joy were talking about me, and talking about how I am on the 5 a.m. Good morning, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So they're mimicking me, right? And my aunt, out of nowhere, she goes, "Good morning, Devera." Mimicking me. I said, I can't wait to tell Devera. It was the most hilarious thing. So yeah, you got me, Devera. You got me on that one. Hair blown, and then you woke up. All right, that's gonna be real. That is going to be real, right? That's gonna be what you do for real. Yes, yes, yes. Serving major face. Serving major face. Buying. So we've done us. Let's see what else is down there. Oh, I'm girl. It's me. I
I
need
was
to
gonna
move.
say you on your computer. Like, I can't. Oh my god. Uh,
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Okay, Melva said, "Hey, Melva. Hey, my friend. Look, when I tell y'all, I just have to say, I just have to call some people out. Melva Bradford is the number one office manager in the world. When I say this woman right here, first of all, she loves God. She is dedicated, committed. She is an awesome grandma and mom, all those kinds of things. But when I say she can manage some people and manage some projects, don't let nothing drop. That's Melvin Bradford. Anyway, she said, I'm grateful to have time to spend with my family, and I have started Sunday Family. Oh, yes. Yay, Melva. Yes, yes, yes. I love Sunday family dinners. Yes, yes, yes. They used to do this major thing with men, with boys, with young I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say. But black boys, black teen men, they just bring them together and care for them. I thought that was amazing. Okay, what else we got? What else we got? I'm so grateful. Okay. I'm so grateful for the LTE group. It's life-giving and transformative. Thank you, Devera. So what Devera is talking about is called the Life Transforming Experience, and it's a monthly subscription where you guys can go to drcatherineejames.com. That new website is up and it looks good. Joy P. Creel. It looks
thanks.
absolutely fantastic. So you can go there and go to what's the button? What's the button now? You don't know? Anyway, you'll be able to figure it out. It's just a few buttons, but one of them takes products. How I can serve you. Services, right? Wonderful. How I can serve you. And so you can go there. And so it's a monthly subscription for $47. And for that, you get coaching calls. So Devera's talking about that group. You get a private Facebook group where you get touches from me, touches from Joy, touches from the community members all the time. And then all other kinds of things that we have. Look, well, the other thing is this is the thing, Joy. Letitia Black has offered services. So what we're also going to start including in the LTE group is some personal training. That's a part of subscription. So if you anyway, if it's something you're interested in, you need some touches, some coaching services, go to drcatherineejames.com and see how we might work together. See how we might be able to dance together. Thank you, Devera. I'm loving it too, Devera. I'm having I can't wait till in the morning. We have a coaching call in the morning from 10:30 to noon. If you like to be a part, it's a group. It's an amazing experience, if I have to say so myself. It's transformative. That hour and a half is transformative. If that's something that you like to be a part of, go and subscribe for the month. You'll get 30 days of me holding you accountable for your brilliance, holding you accountable for your greatness, calling you out and making sure that you walk it out. That's why Devera having dreams of being on a scooter. I had to get you back, Devera. Who used to bring Black boys and young men together? What organization? That was Melva Bradford, and they used to have, I think it was a monthly event where they fed them and they brought them together. And Melva, and so Ryan, you can look her up on Facebook. I don't know if they're still doing it, but they did it for many, many, many years. And it might have been through her church. I'm not really sure, but Melva, you can chime back in and let us know. Ryan does that kind of work now. He's really dedicated and committed to it. So that's why he's chiming in. You can look up Ryan and see the work that he's doing. He's doing a great work.
That's
What
it.
what we got?
Oh, I was just saying that's it. It was just some
Oh, that was
little
it. Okay.
bantering
All
back
right.
through.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
that's
You're
it.
welcome.
Comment.
You're welcome. So yeah, beloved. So we have, it's an amazing time, you know. So we, again, I want to honor what this day is. The only reason that we even have a show called 9/11 is because 19 years ago, an atrocity, right? A tragedy occurred in this country where terrorists, you know, unleashed ungodful acts, and countless numbers of lives were lost. Just, and thousands, maybe even millions of lives were impacted, to be changed, never to be the same again. And so each year, this day, it commemorates that day. What I also like to remind us of, and I want us to bring that forward to now, is that there was another plane that really was lined up for the Pentagon. It was the Pentagon, I think. No, it was lined up for because it hit the Pentagon. It was lined up for the other place that it didn't go to. I
Was
think
it the Camp David one?
Camp David or the Capitol, one of them. It was lined up for that. But the people on that flight said not so, because they had already heard what had happened. And they knew what they were going to have to do and sacrifice. But they rose up and they said, not so. Do you see? And then there were so many people who were rescued from the Twin Towers, because there were people who rose up and said, not so. There were people who rose up and said, I've got what's necessary right now. The answer is within me, right? There were people who rose up and were determined that they were going to look after their fellow brothers and sisters. They were determined to keep going. They were determined. There were people who were determined that I'm not going to live the rest of my life in fear, even though this horrible thing has happened, that I'm going to live courageously, that I am going to let bullies and terrorists and racists and all the, you know, these demonic driven ideologies and forces, I'm going to let them know they don't get to win. Don't get to win. And how do we guarantee that? We guarantee that by being the absolute best version of ourselves every day, and walking it out, right? It being transformed into God's image and likeness, and making every day count. Making every day count. That's how we don't allow the enemy, whatever form it comes in, to win. Right? That's how we do that. That's how we do that. So I have no idea. What time is it? My phone is in the car.
10:17.
10:17. All right. Joy, what do you want to say? Is some closing comments here?
Just remember that the only thing that I want to say related to the 9/11 piece, as we remember those who lost their lives and loved ones, we continue to hold space for them, and we continue to pray for them in their situations. But we also choose to look at, like you said, those spaces, because there were those who came out of it. And not that everything is roses or anything like that, but there is always a survivor. There's always an upside. And let's choose to engage that. Let's choose to engage the fact that there are those who survived after it. There will be those who survive after COVID-19. There will be those who survive after homeschooling their children. There will be those that will there will be those that survive. and we have the ability to do all that we can to survive. And
Yeah.
so with that thought, as we go out, as we begin to live into what God has called us to do, as we begin to live in all of the things that live out our greatness, as you say,
Mm-hmm.
and live out our brilliance,
Mm-hmm.
as we begin to do that, we have the right. We have the right to be grateful. We
Mm-hmm.
have the duty to be grateful.
Mm-hmm.
We have the right to take care of ourselves, and we
Mm-hmm.
have the duty to take care of ourselves. So,
Mm-hmm.
as we go about all that is and all that will be, remember,
Yeah.
be grateful and
Mm-hmm.
care for yourselves. Be grateful
Mm-hmm.
for what is, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Dig deep to find that thing that you can
Yeah.
be grateful for, because there is always
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
to be grateful for.
Yeah.
And then take care of yourselves, knowing that you are the most important person to yourself right now. And I
Mm-hmm.
know that does not negate that we have responsibilities and we have people, but think of all of the things that they mean to you because of how you care for them. And
Mm-hmm.
then think of how that would be if you were not present.
Mm-hmm.
And if you were not present for whatever reason. So if
Yeah.
that reason is not caring for yourself. So
Mm-hmm.
you must care for yourself. So this is the time. Now is the time to learn how to do that. Now is the time to learn the pivot. Now is the time to
Yeah.
walk in what God has called you to be. Now is the time to position yourselves. We have to remember, no matter what is going on, God is not coming back for what he left with us. He's coming
Mm-hmm.
back for more. And
Mm-hmm.
we are called to greater. We
Mm-hmm.
are called to the next. We are
Mm-hmm.
called to ourselves. And
Yeah.
then we are called to others.
Amen. 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 I love that. We're called to ourselves and then we are called to others. I love that. Absolutely. Called to ourselves. So be prepared. Be prepared for our next. I think my final statement. Thank you, Joy. Thank you. I appreciate you. For those who don't know, Joy and I spent a lot of time together. And when they, the phrase ride or die, Joy's my ride or die. So
I'm gonna ride or live. I don't want to
rider
die.
lives. My rider lives. And so I'm very, very grateful. Speak Joy. All right now, Ryan said. And so I'm very grateful for Joy. I'm very grateful for the gift that she is to the universe. She is a gift to lots and lots and lots and lots of people. And in this season in our life, she's a gift to me in this season. So I'm grateful to God for you, Joy. Thank you. Thank
Oh,
you
thank
for just
you.
being, being and becoming. We are being and becoming. The final thing that I want to share is there's this new concept or just a new way that I've heard this said, and it says awareness is like a flashlight. Awareness is like a flashlight. It illuminates whatever we shine it on. Awareness is like a flashlight. Our awareness will illuminate whatever we shine it on. And what Joy continued to say is that gratefulness, it's our birthright. We have the right. We have the right to be grateful. And right now, gratefulness is an elixir. It can be. Gratefulness can be a medicine right now. So I want to charge you that if you don't already have a regimen of gratefulness, to create one. Don't let a day go by. Really, don't let a morning go by. Or whenever you get up the beginning of the day, your day, don't let the start of your day go by within the first few minutes uttering, writing, contemplating, what are you grateful for? Write it down. Scripture says, write the vision and make it plain. There's something about writing. So don't let it go by without you declaring to God's universe what you're grateful for. Because again, like Joy said, gratefulness and anxiousness, gratefulness and stress, gratefulness and anger, they can't coexist. They cannot coexist. So give yourself a gift and practice gratefulness. So the statement was awareness like a flashlight, right? It illuminates whatever we shine it on. So whatever you focus on, it's going to illuminate. So when you think about it, oftentimes we focus on the 1, 2, 3, or 5 things that are not going right in our lives. And we ruminate on them and we talk about them and we rehearse them. And so they illuminate, they grow, they expand, they increase because we keep giving it our attention. Beloved, if there are 5 things not going right, I suspect that there are probably 50 or 500 things that are going well. We've got beds to sleep in, most of us, right? We've got houses to go to, most of us. We've got transportation that we can access, most of us. We've got food that we can get to, most of us. We're relatively safe, right? Most of us. We've got people who love us, who we love back, or clothes we can put on, or do you see? And so the water that we can turn on the faucet and run or go buy some water, do you see? Or some way to access food. Maybe money is low and access to food is low, but there are pantries and churches and giveaways and things like that. And so what I want us to do is just to put our energy, because energy grows where it goes. So if we're putting our energy to anxiousness and ain't and can't and won't, we're going to get it back. We're going to get it back. So beloved, we can't afford that. We can't afford it. Awareness is like a flashlight. It illuminates whatever we shine it on. Shine it on your brilliance. Shine it on that thing that puts a joy, a spark in your heart, a brilliant smile on your face. Shine it on what you can do, not what you can't do. Shine it on what you can do, because there is choice. We have choice. We got a couple of things. Great conversation, Dr. James and Miss Joy. Thank you, ladies. You're welcome, Melva. Thank you for tuning in. I so miss you. We've got to figure out how to get together. Ryan says, good evening, Melva. Your name was mentioned for the gatherings of Black boys and young men. Yes, yes. Pam Bracey says, so true. And Devera says, you both complement each other. When I see you, I look for joy. When I see joy, I look for you. It's a blessing to have that ride and live relationship. I love you both. We love you back, Devera. My auntie loves you too. All right, beloved. You are a gift to God's universe. And right now, we need the gifts to know that they're gifts. Hear me when I say you're a gift. Hear me when I say that everything is within you is needed right now. You are added value and you are answers. You are answers. So I need you to not hide yourself up under a bushel. Don't hide your gift up under a bushel. If somebody told you you ain't, you can't, you won't, you don't, they don't know you. They don't know you. They don't know you. I know that is in you because I know who created you. So go out, shine, be brilliant, be the answer that you are. Show up for you first. For you first. That's not selfish. That's self-care. Show up for you first. And then let it go from there. You will automatically show up for others. And so visit us at drcatherinejames.com. Join the journey, the self-love journey, join the life transformation journey, join the being brilliant journey, join the journey of becoming the best version of yourself. And we've got lots of ways to walk that out with you. But go to drcatherinejames.com and let's see how those things might work, how we might play together. And so I'm signing off here. Have an amazing evening. Have an amazing Saturday. Share tomorrow, whether in Being Brilliant or on my Facebook page or somewhere, but share tomorrow after you've had some fun, how you've had some fun, right? How you've celebrated tomorrow. Melva said, hi, Ryan. My brother does a men's group. You can inbox me for more details. I love it. I love connections. All right, beloved, at the moment, thank you, Joy. At the very moment that Abba gave us his breath, we forfeited the right to not be amazing. You don't have the right. I don't have the right. we don't have the right to not be amazing, because if we act like we're not being amazing, if we act like we're not amazing, that's I don't know the word. It's like we're masking, we're pretending. I can't think of the word, but anyway, counterfeit. That's a counterfeit, because we are amazing. Ryan says, incredible show. We'll do my best to watch more episodes, either live or YouTube. Thank you. Hey, sis. Hey, Brenda. Hey, Brenda. Hey, Brenda. Devira says, hey, love. Okay. Love y'all. I can do this all night long, so I'm going to get off, because this is what I do. I love you. Have an amazing evening. Talk to you soon.